Stephen, I would totally like to wish you a happy new year, but I can't. I can't do it because it's too late. It's just too late, and I can't do it.
Stephen, I normally would say happy new year, but it's Thursday, and that's more than 3 days of the first work week of the new year, so I can't say happy new year anymore, so hi.
Hi. I will say I've said Happy New Year to a few people over the past few days, but I do agree you only get a few days after that new year starts.
But because of the way that it fell this year, last week, that I feel that you have 3 days. You have until Wednesday of the first work week.
Okay, Larry David.
Yeah, well, I am very much Larry David.
I
watch his videos,
you really are.
And I'm like, he's right. He's right.
That's me.
That I've done that before. I agree with him. Like, that is so good. Especially
I'm agreeing with myself.
Yeah, especially the yoga one where he's like, the woman's like, you didn't namaste, Larry. He's like, eh. And then she's like, you should namaste. He's like, why? I'm choosing my own journey. And then he's like poking his third eye in his forehead. She's like, stop doing that. He's like, why? I'm poking the third eye. It's like, ugh. She's like, fuck you, Larry. And he's like, that made it all worth it. Seeing you get angry, which I love when yoga people get angry.
I couldn't imagine you as a child, by the way, because now you question everything. And I'm sure back then you really questioned everything because that's kind of that toddler phase of like, well, why? Everything is why once they turn like 3-4 years old. But you have kept up with that your entire life. Well, why? I don't have to do that.
Why do you even bring that up?
Because Larry David questions everything. And you are like Larry David.
I question everything.
That's my point.
Yeah. It's because that's how it should be.
You question basic things that really don't need to be questioned.
Like what, Stephen? Give me an example.
Like the namaste thing. It's like just whatever. It's not a big deal.
I'm not namasteing.
Okay.
I refused to namaste when I did yoga. Refused. Full out.
I just wouldn't go to yoga in the first place.
Well, I got to that point where I hated it. Like I went and it was like a good routine and I was like, no more. I'm done with yoga. I hated it because I would spend 31 minutes shavasanaing, which is literally laying on your back and falling asleep while everybody else is doing their practice. Like, what are we practicing for? Is there a competition for best yogi? No, it's practice. Shut up, yoga people.
Is the practice like stretching? Warming up the muscles, like that kind of thing, or no?
No, it's your personal practice.
Ooh.
And it's your own personal journey. Whatever feels right to you, you should do it.
It actually sounds incredibly relaxing.
I did one of those sound bath things. Mm-hmm. Fuck, man, that puts you into a trance. It really does.
I bet.
But it's boring as shit. Most of the I hate the yoga. I do enjoy yoga pants, not so much on the gay dudes in front of me where you can see entire packages and all of their chest hair. Like, think of the type of gay guy that has the Brillo pad chest hair coming out of like a leotard.
Like Richard Simmons or something?
Yes, but Richard Simmons really didn't have as much black hair with the guy with the mustache. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it just so happened that the guy would be in front of me because he'd just like come in after the fact. I'm like trying to sit next to some cute girls and stuff and try not to stare at the labias in front of me to the left coming out through the pants. I'm like, don't look at labias. Stop looking at labia majoras and minoras. Jeez. Wait, they've got minoras in their pants? All right, Happy New Year, Stephen. Happy New Year, everybody.
Good to be back.
Shit, I can't say that. It's a day late. I take it back. Did you do anything for New Year's?
Not really. I mean, we just did the typical New Year's for us, which was go to my parents' house. All the cousins come together. I don't know if you saw video clips of it, but there's 20 kids screaming and
absolutely horrible.
It's complete chaos. Let's just say that my parents' house gets absolutely destroyed every single time. I feel terrible, but they love it. But yeah, we just did that. We did the fake countdown at like 8 p.m. Put Hannah down around 8:30.
I have a problem with that. It's fake, and you're lying to your kids. Like Santa.
You want to keep your kid up till midnight and then have them freaking out when they're tired and just want to go to bed? No.
I don't have a kid, Stephen. Exactly. I don't care.
Trust me. Keep them on a strict sleep schedule and your life will be a million times better. That also comes down to naps as well.
I don't take naps.
I'm saying from a toddler perspective, we are very big on doing the fake countdown and still getting her in bed around that 8. I mean, usually she goes to bed around 7:30. We stretched it to 9 that night. So yeah, we did the fake, going out front and doing sparklers and fake fireworks, all kinds of stuff.
I think I've lost the childhood wonder. I think I forgot what it was like to be a kid.
I am reliving it all right now through the eyes of my daughter, for sure.
I took my niece and nephew. They're twins. They just turned 11.
11?
Yeah. So I got back from Kenya or wherever the hell I was, and their birthday was like right after that, and they had a party, and it was a skate party, and it was a lot of fun going to the roller palace. Ooh. And I like skating. I was skating around the rink. I borrowed rollerblades. I need to get my own because I have a bone in my foot that protrudes out too far, and like with my hockey skates, I had them custom done so that it would cup around that. So these things hurt my feet, but I go out there with the 28 to 70 F2 and an R1, not on a strap or anything, and I'm skating backwards, taking picture of people. I'm going forward. Shuffling, no, C-cutting, man. I'm a hockey skater, man. Like,
I was always jealous of the dudes that would like shuffle skate.
Oh, no, shuffle skating is if you use skates. I don't use
not
skates.
rollerblades.
I use rollerblades because skates just don't work for me. That's like figure skating. I just refuse to do it. But it was good. I go out there. That's my gift for, not their gift every year, but I'm always taking pictures at their birthdays or the holidays so that they have it to look back on. And they will. They'll enjoy it one day and remember all of those birthday parties. But I said that they could I was going to give them $100 each to spend. Nice. Right. And I was going to take them out and we're going to go somewhere to spend their money. And so I pick them up. My brother's like, yeah, pick them up, take them to lunch, do whatever, leave us alone. I was like, all right, cool. I'll take the kids. And I laid down some laws. I sat them down on the step before we left. I said, okay, kids, you get $100 each to spend. How much do you get to spend? They're like 100. I'm like, no, there's tax. You get $94.63. So we're going to learn about tax today, kids.
Man, taking the joy out of childhood.
100%. And then I'm like, okay, put my finger behind my back, one or two, and I let one of them pick, and they got it right. I'm like, okay, do you want to ride in the front first or ride on the way home later? So they picked one. So there was going to be no fighting. I was laying down rules, Steven. I was setting this down.
No Jared tickets this year, like a free punch or whatever you did last year. What was it?
A free punch? No, it was 5 minutes of fighting with me.
5 minutes of fighting, yeah.
They've used all those tickets up, and they broke the bell. I got them.
But
funny. Anyway, I take them. We go to like they want to go to GameStop. We go to GameStop. It's 10 in the morning. Why is GameStop closed? Why are they open at 12? And I think someone told me the answer was, the nerds were up too late. They like to stay up too late, so they don't start until noon.
That's a good point.
Like, I was like, great. So anyway, we left. We went to Target. We went to Five Below. We went to Dick's.
Oh, my GameStop here, I'm looking at it now, opens at 10 a.m.
Yeah, but this was on New Year's Day.
But it looks like most of the others around here are 12 p.m.
It was so stupid. Like nerds. Like absolute nerds.
It makes sense, though, when you explain it that way.
I guess, but
they're waking up in their parents' basement at like 11 a.m.
They just wanted to go get a game or something, and which they should just buy online at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went to Five Below. So, and the max that we spent all day is $9.50 on candy.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
They loved going to lunch. They loved, hanging out. And my sister-in-law said their favorite part of the day was hanging out with me.
Oh,
so I don't even need to give them money. It's not about the money. They want to hang with me and screw it. So next time, I'm just going to schedule us to go do stuff.
Yeah, but that'll only work until they're like 13. Then they're going to be like, I don't want a day with you. I want money.
All right, whatever. I'll punch them then in the face. It doesn't matter. I can do that. I'm borrowing them.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't have any. We had one nosebleed in the back of the car. I found one tissue, one paper towel that I was able to give to him. So, yay.
You don't have any like napkins in your car or anything? Tissues?
I have
nothing?
one paper towel, Steve.
Dude, I'm stocked up, but that's also because I have crazy nosebleeds.
Well, the last resort. Well, I used to, pack tissues for you when we traveled.
Oh yeah.
The one thing that I did do was, I have lens cloths, and it was a last resort that he could shove a lens cloth in his nose.
That's funny.
But I'm like, but this is $2.32. Do I want to give him this lens cloth that he's going to breathe on?
It's an expensive tissue.
I know, but it was a last resort. So anyway, I didn't do much for New Year's. I went down the street and I snuck out of the place at 12:15 and went home and went to bed so that I could get to work in the morning and go do something active and proactive and not be one of these drunk losers that get plastered and don't wake up till like 4 and their day is ruined.
I thought you went to the Mummers Parade.
That's what I did. I went to the Mummers, and I absolutely hate the Mummers.
Dude, yeah. It's just a big excuse to get drunk and rowdy I mean, I loved it back in the day, but not anymore.
No, but my goal was to use the wide lux camera. So I loaded up a roll of film. I'm like, it's going to be a little darker. Yeah. So let's use 400. So I started shooting and shooting and shooting. And then I felt something in the camera. And then I kept shooting. And then it wasn't rewinding. So I couldn't open it up there because I knew that wouldn't be a good idea. But when I got back to the studio and I took out the back, all of the film was pulled out of the canister and it was now on the right-hand spool. So I just took it all out and I put it into a dark box and my person will develop it. And then I was like, well, why? Like, did it tear? Did it do this? And then I went downstairs and I looked at the film box and it said 24. So I only got 11 pictures or 12 pictures on the roll instead of 21. And so I shot an extra bunch of pictures that don't exist because there was no film in the camera at that point.
And on top of that, wasn't it a really expired, really old roll?
2015.
Yeah.
2013. It was like super. So anyway, I ordered some film to make sure that I have it here. When I grab it, that it doesn't expire until 29.
And you don't keep it in the fridge or anything?
No, I don't. I never bought into. So back in the day, I kept it in the fridge.
Yeah, I always did.
I did, but here's the thing. Like they would talk about like expired film and the color shifts. If it has a magenta shift at this point, it doesn't matter. You literally just drag and it's over.
The oldest roll of film I ever developed was from like 1972 or something like that. And obviously it was not stored in a refrigerator the entire length of that. And I will say when I developed it, it had an insane magenta shift. Like the whole image was just magenta. And I corrected it and actually made it look decent how many years later. So yeah, like you're saying, it's not that bad. If I can go back to 1972 and correct a roll, if you're going back only 10 years, it's not going to be nearly as bad of a shift.
And especially black and white.
Black and white doesn't matter at all, really.
But I haven't gotten it developed yet. My friend, she has to come get it. It's in the canister, and maybe she could come develop it here up in my dark room, and we'll call it a day. So anyway, that's what I did New Year's Day. I really don't like the New Year's, and I don't like all of the events that happen around it because I don't like drugs, alcohol, and people doing that stuff. But
no fun.
I am no fun. So anyway, you weren't here last week when I went and made that Instagram video that I decided to make based off of what Adam Mosseri had to say.
Yeah.
And if you haven't listened to that episode, guys, it's the episode right before this one. I think we're calling this 181. Right.
Well, I don't know. Was that a RAWtalk?
Well, I didn't call it a RAWtalk, but I put up the logo because I don't want people to see a different logo and then not think that it's this. So whatever. I think anytime I put up a video, it should just be a RAWtalk, and I might not put numbers on it, or we're going to be moving the numbers to the end so they're there so you can know what number it is. But, you know, I don't think it needs to be at the beginning. You see the logo, you see it come from me, you know what it's going to be.
Well, the only reason we had different logos before is because you would do your daily froze, and they were more like 20-minute, quick, day of podcasts just by yourself.
Yeah.
Where I guess now you're still doing like a full podcast by yourself when I'm not here, and it's still essentially a RAWtalk.
Well, I didn't expect it to be 40 minutes, but I just kept going and going. But it was good.
Yeah.
Like, it was a really good piece of video or an audio that I put up. Nah, man. Did you listen?
I did. I mean, it's been a week or so whenever you put that out.
Did you have any thoughts beyond mine about, what Adam was saying?
Not really, man. I don't have much to add. I think I agree on all of your points. Right off the bat, I will say I'm certainly not going to chase a trend of putting shitty photos out. I'll tell you that. That's definitely not happening. At least ones that end up on my grid. Like, stories are a different story, no pun intended.
Well, I think what he was saying. For a quick recap for everybody, like a super quick recap, Adam Mosseri is the head of Instagram. He put out a 20 image carousel that was all text talking about the state of Instagram. He was being straight up honest. And one of the things he said is the Instagram of 10 years ago doesn't exist anymore. And he was talking about AI coming in and that AI is too polished and it's too easy to put up great photos with good with any camera, and AI's coming and it's going to make everything look too polished. But then the secret should be, raw and unpolished, and he's saying that's what you should do.
Which is where it's been going anyway. It's been trending that way for quite some time. It's not like that's anything new.
But no, if you go all the way back to 2010 when I launched Fro Knows Photo, one of the things one of the things that I noticed with videos is they were super polished and super edited. And I didn't like that. I thought that raw, straight to the point, just say it was going to be better. And part of that was I didn't know how to edit, but I also just felt that everything was too polished and too sanitary. Too many edits, too many perfect cuts, too many, the information was just boring. And so my idea was just keep it as raw as possible and just give the information, which we still do today.
Oh, 100%. We don't cut or change your thoughts at all during a video edit. I'll tell you that.
No, and we've always kept authenticity. So what Adam's talking about is, you should be authentic and you should just be you and you should just post whatever you want without thinking. But on the flip side, so this is like what he was talking about was kind of an indictment of Instagram, but also talking about how Instagram could be better. And when I talk about an indictment is when he says that AI filters or AI is taking over and making things look too good that people don't know what it looks like. I'm like, but you guys make filters to make people look different. So if you want to talk about authenticity, then get rid of those damn filters. And it felt like he was kind of under duress or something making this. Like, did he have permission to make this? Did Mark Zuckerberg like that he made this? Is this good? It just felt like he's like, you know what? I'm going to say what I need to say. And I'm not sure that he's not wrong and he's not fully right.
Or does he know that a major shift is about to happen and he wants to warn everybody?
Well, I think what he's absolutely right about, and this happened more when you think about it after the fact, is that it's becoming harder and harder to know what's real and what isn't.
100%.
And so how do you know what's real? Do you label that? Do you vet that? But the problem, if you start letting Facebook and Instagram vet what's real and what's not real in terms of people, it starts to become, well, how do you pick these people and not these people? It's like a really tough situation to be in, but my answer to everything has always been stay authentic, be yourself, do your things. And I don't think Instagram died for photographers. There was a moment where they tweaked everything back way too far and I was getting 200 likes instead of 2,000. Now I'm putting up images. Sometimes I put music, sometimes I do a carousel, sometimes I don't, because they may say like, well, carousels and music are better because a carousel, if someone doesn't look at your first image, it gets shown to them again, they pick a different image from the carousel and maybe that grabs them and they interact. That's the whole point. So, I try not to play the games. I just try to, if I want to say something, I say something. I want to share something, I share something. And that's kind of what he was getting at, is like the Instagram of old was you used to just post stuff and not worry so much about curation. Some of the feedback that people got was like, well, just get off Instagram. Go use Blue Sky or go use Vero. And I'm like, guys.
Oh, Vero, I forgot about that.
There's a reason we don't use those shitty apps, is there's nobody there. So with billions of people using Instagram, it would be stupid for me to leave from a creative and business standpoint, mostly business. It's not about getting likes, though we are trained now to think about success as having likes. But there really aren't other platforms that make sense. So work with this. Work with what you have in front of you. But the moral of the story is things are evolving and things are changing, and he was just sharing his thoughts on that.
I feel like, too, when he was mentioning the polished part of Instagram and how people should be a little more imperfect, I think he was hinting more at like the people that perfect their grid and make everything look picture perfect. But it almost gets to the point where it's like, it just doesn't seem real. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem legit.
No, it absolutely doesn't seem legit or real when they do that.
And I don't agree that people stopped sharing personal moments years ago. I think 99% of my personal feed, are friends and family that only share personal moments. I mean, that's really all they share, especially being non-photographers. Although it's mainly done through like stories at this point, I will say, or they'll reshare their post in a story. I do follow a lot of musicians as well. There's a lot of personal stuff from them from the road.
It's always comes down to authenticity. Stop trying to game a system. Stop trying to find, well, this is the hack for getting views. Like I see it on people put out stories all the time and they're like, this is the hack to getting millions of views. And then you look at their channel and they're like, wait, you got one video that hit the algorithm.
Yeah.
One. Everything else has 400. So shut up. Just make content. Just put stuff out into the world that you want to put out. It's not saying just do stuff stupidly or willy-nilly. Yeah, there's some thought that goes into it, but you have something to say it. Share it.
Well, and back to the musician thing, I feel like people like Lord and Billie Eilish, like those two kind of changed the game.
Doobie doobie doo.
They wanted to
doobie doobie Lord. Doobie doobie doo. Ha da da dee dee. Ha yeah da ba in my belly. Da da da. Dad, you're Lord.
Oh, Randy becomes Lord. But I feel like they changed the game up where they stopped having that cookie cutter look, and they just were real and authentic and shared what they wanted to share. That being said, they're kind of back into that label cycle. At least Lord is. I feel like she is now that generic, like, put out another album, have a picture perfect album cover, that kind of stuff. It doesn't seem like she's fighting the system anymore. I guess eventually that system eats you up and you become the system.
Speaking of getting eaten up, I was very disappointed to see that my hopeful wife was pregnant now, not by me. And call me maybe Carly Rae Jepsen.
Is she?
Yeah, she's very pregnant. She's very close.
Oh, hey.
She looks really, really good. I was just like, wow. Hi, Carly. Steven had a chance with you. Steven had a chance with you. It would have been great. Would have been nice.
She's 40. Wow.
We're perfect. We're soulmates.
That would be a good match, yeah.
Would have been, Steven. Would have been if she called me. Anyway, moving on. I got some Printique books in the mail. Photo books. I got my Kenya trip and I got my Japan trip. I also got you guys a code. For a long time, Printique would not give me custom codes for a couple of years, which I just wanted to give you guys a Fro code and not make you click an affiliate link. So they gave me a Fro code, Fro25. It's good for 2 weeks from now. You get 25% off your entire photo book order. Whether you get small books, big books, a lot of books, or not a lot of books, 25% off is a lot. Every $100 you spend is $25 saved. I spent over $700. I would have saved $186 if I got it. Well, it's because I get the books that are 100 pages.
Yeah.
You don't have to do a $371 book like me that has 100 pages in it. You could do a 50-page book in the $200 range. Yeah. Anyway, these are great for gifts, leave behinds, portfolios, to sell to clients, to give away,
wedding
whatever.
albums. Yeah.
Just if you've been sitting on the stuff and you want to print your freaking prints. Anyway, codes Fro25. It's good for 2 weeks. I thought that would be good. All right. Speaking of authenticity, we have a story to talk about from Cliff Mautner. Now, if you don't know who Cliff Mautner is, Cliff was an ambassador for Nikon. He still is an ambassador for Nikon, but going back into the 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s, a long time. Cliff has been the go-to wedding photographer for years in the Philadelphia area and also nationally. He taught a lot. He spoke a lot. He shot a ton of weddings. He does a great amount of portraits. He covers a day extremely well, a very classic look at shooting weddings and portraiture. Well, he had something to say on Facebook that he felt like he needed to say, and I'm going to read his whole thing. At first, I was just going to give you the Cliff Notes. Hey,
I see what you did there.
I was going to give you the Cliff Notes, but Cliff nailed the nail on the head. Hit the head on the nail. Hit the nail in the head. Put a head in a nail. I don't know what the term is, Steven.
By the way, we did do a RAWtalk interview with him, 10 and a half years ago.
Yeah.
RAWtalk 136, the original RAWtalk. So if you want to learn more about Cliff, you can check that out. Just search up Cliff Mautner, Jared Polin, RAWtalk. And yeah, June 7th, 2015.
If I recall correctly, there was probably more stuff said after we stopped recording.
Oh, for sure.
Than while we were recording, because I think he wanted to yell, "Get off my lawn" back then too.
He was fairly reserved during the interview and said a lot more after.
Well, it's about you don't want to rock the boat, because you don't want to be perceived as being like, "Get off my lawn, kids," and that the industry is changing and you shouldn't say but you get afraid to say things because you don't want to lose your gigs or lose out.
I get it.
But then again, I say quite a lot of stuff.
Keep in mind, he's also, I believe, still a Nikon ambassador, correct?
Yes, he's still a Nikon ambassador.
So, you don't want to say too much.
I do. I want to say a lot.
You're not a Nikon ambassador.
I'm not an
and you
ambassador
will
of anything.
never be.
I don't want to be an ambassador for anything. I want to be an ambassador for Fro Knows Photo for me, because I'm selfish. I only want to be for me, which isn't true. So anyway, Cliff posted this on Facebook, so none of the people that he's talking to actually see it because they're all young and probably not on Facebook, but it is a really good read. So I'm going to read it to you and we're going to then discuss it because it's a lot of the things that I've been saying as well. So here's what Cliff had to say on Facebook. I would like to put something out as sort of an open letter to our beloved photo industry. I've hesitated to write anything like this because I don't wish to be the old veteran yelling at the clouds or screaming, "Get off my lawn." I don't want it to be misconstrued at all, but there are things that have really been weighing on me. It's a nice slow time here in the Northeast of the USA. My social algorithm is a hodgepodge of my interests. Aside from golf and poker, it's dominated by photography and photographers who have found their way into my feed. I scroll through these reels and see a flood of people presenting themselves as experts, quote unquote experts, while ignoring the most basic fundamentals of the craft: light, composition, timing, intention, etc. Do you like how I kept nice timing as I read that, Stephen? Just like
you're doing a
just
pretty
like
good
he
job.
was doing.
It's like story time with Jared, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really good at telling stories and painting pictures in your mind.
Ooh.
All right. Cameras are held incorrectly. Eyes rarely go to the viewfinder, and the direction of light is often an afterthought if a consider.
Oh, you screwed up.
I did screw up.
Take it all back.
If it's considered at all. Many seem to have zero understanding of why an image works, or just as crucial, why it doesn't work. It parrots mimicking other parrots, yet the confidence they have is sky high. That is true. Just as disturbing are the comments filled with praise, oohs, and ahs
Fire
of
emoji.
astonishment that lead to more worshipping of mediocrity or worse. Yeah, we see that all the time. That's why I do the mentorships.
Yep.
I literally, when I first started doing the mentorships and marketing and branding them, it was just like, I want to critique your work and help you. And then everybody said the same thing to me on the critique. I was tired of getting thumbs up and fire emojis and no actual feedback. And I got feedback. Oh, speaking of feedback, I did one yesterday with a guy, and he did I got a 70 by 200 and a 50 by 150.
Really?
And I was like, dude, I got to correct you. I'm like, I got to stop you. Let me correct you. It's 50 to 150. It's a 70 to 200.
Blows my mind, people buying that expensive glass and not even.
But it's not, but
knowing
also,
what they
Stephen,
have.
it's not their fault. It's part of it is the education, or as Cliff is saying here, the miseducation of people, the misinforming of people, how to say, how many times.
The shutter speed fraction thing I get, because it's
1
literally a
over
fraction.
500,
But
right?
not the 70 by 200. That's a little weird.
But I've heard a ton of people saying that. So anyway, worshipping of mediocrity or worse. Okay, here we go. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Modern mirrorless cameras have obliterated the bar for entry into the industry. I don't think that's uncomfortable at all. I think that's just a fact.
Yeah.
I'm not uncomfortable with it. I think it's an opportunity to help more people. And this isn't saying that Cliff is wrong, because he does answer all of this in just a second.
Yeah.
Autofocus is like witchcraft. EVFs are amazing, and it's absolutely made me a better photographer. It would have made him even better if he wasn't shooting Nikon. Oh,
Fighting words.
it's true, though, in my opinion, sir. I cannot deny that. I'm not anti-technology. My Nikon tools have evolved beyond my dreams. Imagine if they were Canon or Sony. And getting better with each model and firmware update. I've evolved with them. But tools should reward skill, not replace it. If you're a younger or aspiring photographer reading this, I want to encourage you, not lecture you. Learn light, learn composition, learn timing, and learn why an image works or doesn't. It's easy to get a picture properly exposed and tacked sharp, but don't confuse it with a good photograph, and don't confuse social media likes with mastery. That is a core point that I constantly talk about. And I also think that it's not exactly the new photographer's fault that they don't understand fundamentals and basics if no one is able to teach them fundamentals and basics. I, for the last 15 years, 16 years, have been trying to teach fundamentals and basics, more so in the 10 years since after starting Frono's Photo, but also having the beginner guide to getting out of auto is the quintessential Cliff Notes for how to use a DSLR, and it definitely helps with mirrorless, but that's why we are updating that product, updating that video, so that I can sit here and not just say, you need to learn exposure and you need to learn light and composition, that I can actually say it and then say, look, here's how you can do it. Here are the Cliff Notes to photography, not made by Cliff, but made by me. That's the point. Continuing on, a sharp, properly exposed image has never been easier to achieve and never been less meaningful on its own. Clean doesn't mean compelling. Likes don't mean you know what you're doing. Just because someone is showing a reel of themselves making pictures, it doesn't mean they're good. Hell, most of the time they don't even show the image.
100%.
Or they don't show the images, which is so true. They don't show the images.
Nope.
Which is it's so frustrating. Or when you're looking at these videos, I'm finding myself seeing these things and wanting to comment, but I'm not. I don't want to get into this rigmarole of, well, why are you holding the camera in front of you? Oh, it's just to film that you're shooting a photo of this, and just because you did it doesn't make it good, which I want to talk about more at the end. All right. The AI processing companies seem to promote fixing images rather than streamlining a workflow. If you need to bring up the exposure on images multiple stops as shown in the ads, you have more issues than just exposure values. That is so true. You know this, you and I talk about this all the time. We get offers from companies, these AI companies, these software companies, and I entertain them until I realize that this is going against everything that I talk about. I want to do some of the AI stuff, but I'm like, but this just takes away from the coreness of your image. And I would be doing it just to take the money because they pay a lot of money. But then I'd be like, we're doing a disservice to our following to offer them this bullshit and not focus on the fundamentals and basics. All right, Cliff goes on. More light is not better light. As my dear friend and phenomenal photographer Dave Black told me, sometimes a picture is more interesting when you light only part of it. Direction creates dimension. Ooh. Shadow is the canvas and light is the paint.
Not written by AI.
Not written. Could be. Let's check.
I know.
There is no unsuck filter in Photoshop or in AI software. So true, because the software's push constantly, oh, it's out of focus. We could help you with that after the fact. You know, like you need to crop 8 billion times. Well, AI can resharpen it and make it usable. And just people misuse and abuse AI products because they've been marketed to by these products to think they need to sharpen every picture even at 100 or need to denoise everything even if they take it at 100 ISO.
Well, I think what he's saying is a shitty picture is going to be a shitty picture. No AI software or Photoshop will make it any better at
Correct.
the end of the day.
A shitty picture in is a shitty picture out, which I think he probably says in just a second.
Oh.
Here's where it hurts the industry the most. When the consumer might be searching for a photographer, they're bombarded with so much digital noise in their feed, the perception of what good photography is becomes completely distorted. The level of work shown by many of these influencers is downright amateurish. This leads the consumer to lower their bar when searching for a professional. Garbage in, garbage out. It's like a domino effect that lowers expectations and causes fee structures to plummet. Now, I'm sure he's had to change his pricing. Cliff was one of the most expensive in the Philadelphia area for years because you knew you were getting one of the best wedding photographers in the world who's going to give you results time and time again. He is so right about garbage in and garbage out. But also, I've said this for years as well, is that when people are so used to seeing shit, they don't know what a good picture is. But when a good picture or a great picture smacks them in their face, they stop in their tracks.
Yep.
The same thing happens here at the boot camps. At the end of the day, when we're going through and critiquing people's images, I'm like arrowing through, we're like blah, blah, blah. And then people in the room audibly gasp and go, oh, wow. I'm like, guys, did you see what just happened? The collective, everybody sitting here saw that image right there is a winning image. You may not understand why it's a winning image, and let's talk about it. But you knew just from seeing it that you've seen a bunch of mediocre stuff, and now you stop and see something that's amazing, and you know it. But there is so much shit out there that people are so used to seeing garbage that they accept it. Like wedding photographers being like, I shoot a roll of film during your wedding. Isn't that great? I'm going to save that till the end because I do want to talk about that in more detail. Professional photography is in peril. That's the hard truth. Sorry for burying the lead. I get it, maybe a little bit. This industry has given me everything I have. I owe it far more than it owes me. Because of that, I'm not willing to stay quiet while fundamentals are dismissed. Mediocrity is celebrated, and the definition of good is slowly eroded. There is extraordinary talent out there. The resources to learn have never been better. I'm astonished by some of the great work being done by many. My hope, especially for those just starting, is that we protect the craft by respecting it. Learn to see, learn to shape light, learn to compose, learn to tell stories with your images, learn what, Printique, Fro25, make a story in a book.
Plug.
Learn why. Because when trends fade and technology levels the field, the only thing left is the photograph and whether it holds up. This isn't about gatekeeping or get off my lawn. It's about respecting the craft and perhaps more importantly, the people who hire us.
Oof.
That is
spot on.
He wrote, like I said, I wanted to do the Cliff Notes of that, except for the fact the Cliff Notes are literally, except for like 1 or 2 lines up there, the entire thing.
Yeah.
It is well written. It's well pointed. It says exactly kind of what I've been saying for years publicly. And he's just coming around to, voicing it now. But the solution is, okay, what do we do about it? And that's what I keep coming back to. Do I comment on someone's terrible images that they think are great, that they're getting, thumbs up and plaudits and emojis for, and be like, well, this is shit? Or do I try and take the other angle and be like, let's teach people how to do this properly?
I've got a friend that now considers themselves a professional photographer. And I will say, they've got a flagship camera, flagship glass, expensive stuff. They got the gear, but they must be shooting everything in auto, if I had to guess, JPEG for sure. I mean, it is the worst photos I've ever seen. I can take what they take on my smartphone, and they're getting jobs, and I don't understand it. And every time they post something, it's fire emoji, it's this is great, all this stuff. But then when I talk to friends that know them, behind their back, they're like, I don't know how they're getting jobs. They're such a bad photographer. I don't understand it. It's clearly terrible. But for some reason, they are making it through this world as a professional photographer. And I just do not understand it. How do people not see it? But like you said, like Cliff said, there's so much shit out in the world that people really don't know the difference.
And that's why I'm so passionate about my work, because I think it is really good. In fact, I know it's really good. And that's why I like to hammer that home, because I know it. I fucking know it. I've done this for 30 plus years.
Best.
I'm up there, Steven. I just know it though. Time and time again. I amaze myself time and time again. No, I sit at the computer.
You pat yourself on the back.
I do sometimes when you're not here. I just brush my shoulder off and oh yeah, that was great.
Good job,
Anybody
Jared.
looking?
Good job.
Great job. You did it again. But I worry, I worry when I go out to shoots. I mean, the worry is always in the back of the mind that
Everyone
can I
does.
do it again?
Yeah.
Can I accomplish what I've done in the past? Can I continue to get better images?
Can I get better images? That's my thing.
Right. Can I do it? And then I get back to editing the images after I felt like I had a bad shoot. It didn't go well. And then you sit down and you're like, wait a second. There is a story here. There are great images. And I'm okay, relieved that I was able to do that. A thing that you just said about your friend being a terrible photographer but getting jobs, that is not a new thing.
Oh, no.
I had a guy that I helped out photograph way back in the day when I was in right out of college, I was still in college, and I would help him photograph the sports teams at high schools and the cheerleaders and all of that stuff and all those kneeling football shots. I would help him, but I was like, how does this guy get a job when his photos are so bad? But people liked him. They liked talking to him.
Personality matters for sure, yeah.
He was able to sell the job. He was there on time. He did the job. He delivered as he said he could deliver. Did he do a good job? Not really. And I told him that every time. This is 19-year-old Jared being like, dude, Al, why are your photos why are you shooting like that? He's like, people like it. People pay me,
but do
they still do it?
It's because they don't know what a good photo is,
and that still comes down to it. But I've always wanted to be,
especially then. A good photo was probably shit. Where now it's I can take a decent photo on my smartphone.
You can.
I feel if anything, they should be able to know the difference today more than yesteryear.
Yeah, but the problem is they're not. They don't know in a feed what they're facing. They may see one good photo, and they just keep scrolling, and they're just shitty photo after shitty photo after shitty photo, and they think, oh, that's great. Look, a light and airy photo of a bride. cool. Oh, look, there's a solar flare. But then when you stop and you look at one of Cliff's thought out, composed, exposed properly, lit properly, or just not even using a flash, but using the light that exists to get the right framing and angle, it works. This is why you don't chase trends. Trends come and go. Like, oh, the metallic print phase. Remember metallic paper? Everything was about metallic paper for a long time. But you look at that today and you're like, well, this is garbage. This is terrible. Or the trend of blurry, out of focus images. You're like, no, that's just a shit photo. And I know there's some people, like, they'll do weddings and they might be like, they might come to you and say, I like this style. And then I'd be like, well, then I'm not for you. Like, you're not going to hire me. I don't want you to hire me because I don't want to work for you if this is what you think is quality. I never shied away from telling people when we were sitting down and I was showing them my work, I never shied away when they were like, well, this other photographer is going to give me 2,000 images. And this was in the film era or early digital where we would deliver not 2,000 images. But I was never afraid to sit there and be like, well, yeah, great. They're giving you 2,000 images. I say I'm going to deliver you no less than 350 keepers. Would you rather have 2,000 pieces of shit or 350 quality images? I could give you 2,000 photos, but what's the point of giving you shit that isn't good? And they're like, well, that does make sense. I'm like, right. So why would I shoot 10 pictures of you walking down the aisle and give you every single one of those and just to reach and chase a number? I'm not chasing numbers. I'm chasing quality. It's about the final results, great images. And this is true with everybody out there, not just shooting weddings. When you are putting your portfolio together, you're putting together your squarespace.com/Ronos photo site. When you're putting that stuff together, when you're putting that stuff together, you are the last line of defense between putting out quality and shit. If you put out a shitty image, that's your fault. Don't put out shit. And you know what's good and you know what's not good.
Yeah.
So when you're putting together your portfolio, you put together the best images that you have. If you find that you're being like, oh, well, in this 8th image, I'm hiding this here because, it's not the best that I have, then get rid of it. If you only have 12 images in a portfolio versus 20, fine. If they're your 12 best that tell the story. You don't have to deliver crap. Like, say you're out there doing, and another thing I hate is mini sessions. It's a mini session. What, a mini session? I could take 10 minutes and be a full session because I got the best results. Stop calling shit minis. You're devaluing your product by saying it's a mini. It's a mini. I only give you 30 minutes. It's like, well, I could do a full one in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I just hate that.
I do want to bring up the top comment from that post, by the way.
I didn't read comments. Are they good?
Well, it comes from someone that owns a wedding venue and sees photographers working week after week in the real world, whether that's a new wedding photographer versus a seasoned photographer. And I want to bring up what they said because I find it really, really interesting and eye-opening. They go on to say, now that we own a venue, we have even more of an expanded view of the state of wedding photography. We get to see not only the galleries, but the way in which photographers work. It actually goes much deeper than just the quality of the photos. The entire approach to the process has changed. Gone are the days of blending into the background. We see photographers in bright clothes, Jared Polin,
I always wore black.
Flowery dresses, sweatpants, shorts, hats, and jeans. It has become a mix of either not caring how they appear or wanting to be the center of attention at the wedding. Social media, rather the influence of social media, has really hurt the professionalism that has held the industry to a high standard. And honestly, I feel bad for the young photographer because it isn't their fault. The race to recognition has created the horse before the cart environment. They aren't concerned with the guest experience at the wedding. They are only concerned with the recognition of what they put on social media. No one uses the viewfinder and they don't change lenses. Ceremonies now consist of photographers standing right in front of the couple, staring at the back of their camera and blocking all of the guests because they won't use longer lenses anymore. So the view of a ceremony for guests has become the back of someone wearing bright clothes or leggings and tennis shoes or something of the sort. We actually get photographers confused with makeup artists now because photographers come rolling in with a suitcase full of things for nothing more than detail shots. They will spend over an hour just photographing details because that is what they have been programmed to do by social media. Lighting during receptions has been replaced with one light on camera pointed directly at the couple. While I know things are trendy, and there's a style to that right now that couples who have also been programmed by social media are drawn to. The photos all look the same. Wide photos, no compression or isolation, and once again, no one can see the end because the photographer has to get super close to the action because of not changing lenses. What is more frightening is that I don't see an end to this or it improving. Every week we see a photographer we haven't seen before, and it's the same routine each time. I'm fearful, very fearful for the future of the industry.
That's really well written.
Yeah.
There's so many things in there.
Great insight.
Right? Like the trend chasing is, we talk about that all the time. Don't chase trends. In terms of changing
Blurry
lenses.
photos.
What was that? Blurry photos?
Yeah, it's all the rage right now, I feel like.
Well, absolutely not. I mean, I never, again, was afraid to call it like it was when I see it.
And the detail shot thing, my wedding photographer, for example, spent so much time on the detail shots and gave us a whole gallery of just detail shots. You know what I never look at? The detail shots. I don't care about them personally at all. And I remember her being like, you don't have a watch or you don't have like something special you want to put in there. I'm like, no. Like, I want pictures of us at the wedding, during our wedding day. But yeah, I find myself never going back to that specific gallery because I just don't care. I don't care to see the wedding invitation or
the garter belt.
Yeah,
the
like you want to take a
condom
picture of
from
my
the
belt.
night.
I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
This is nothing special to me.
All of this is a problem. Now, in terms of changing lenses, I changed lenses throughout the day.
Oh yeah,
a ton. I was
Every
bringing a
event I
300-2.8 on my Nikon to shoot from the back to get a different angle, and I was usually second shooting weddings myself. Like it was my job, but I would bring another shooter who was more predominantly doing portraits and lighting and managing the day, and I was doing the photojournalistic stuff at a time where most people weren't hiring photojournalistic wedding photographers. But I would go from a 300 to a 70-200 to a 20 millimeter to a fisheye to a 24-70 or whatever existed then, because you have to run through the gamut to tell the best story of the day. But people are programmed by social media and trends and chasing them. And it look, you can call it out all day, and we should call it out all day. But you as a creative, as a photographer, if you're going for gigs, don't accept when someone is coming to you and being like, well, do you do this and this? This is what, looks great. I'm like, no, this is what I do. Do you like this quality work? Or do you want those trends? Are those trends going to be interesting in 20 years when you look back at your images?
So speaking of changing lenses, do you remember when I had to photograph that surprise wedding? Yeah. And I thought I was only taking like a picture or two for save the date announcement? Well, that couple specifically said before I got there, they're like, hey, just bring one lens. We're just going to take literally like a quick photo. That's it. And we're going to put it on a save the date. It's supposed to be an engagement party. Well, it ended up being a surprise wedding. So I get there. First of all, before I got there, I told myself, you know what? I'm just going to bring all my lenses just to be safe. Let me just bring everything. I don't know where I'm going to be shooting. I don't know what the environment's going to look like. Do I need to be back against the wall? Do I need to be far away? Let me just bring everything, the whole arsenal. Thank God I did, because when I get there, they then surprised me and told me they were doing a surprise wedding and that I was going to be their wedding photographer.
Oh, congratulations. We're not paying you. Shoot our fucking wedding.
I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm wearing like sandals, a bathing suit because it was a pool party. I'm not prepared at all, mentally and physically. And I ended up thankfully changing lenses throughout the entire thing because we were stuck in a small backyard portion. Then we went inside and I brought my flash too. My flash was always in my bag. I brought everything, and it ended up being a pretty good set of images for the most part. But again, because I had that whole set of lenses from super wide to super telephoto and everything in between. And also getting back to the detail shots, I will say I'm not talking about like detail shots of the rings, stuff like that. That's needed in my opinion. I'm talking about the new trend of like, hey, let me set up this lay flat of like the invitation, the belt, whatever, that kind of stuff. The stuff that people really don't care about, in my opinion. At least I don't care about.
Well, so what you're also starting to see are people that go to these weddings or events or out on the street or covering politicians that are like posting images that were like, this was shot on film. I shot Mondani on film. Here's what it looks like. And you're like, it looks like shit. These people come out and they have like 4 cameras hanging around them on different things. It's like, well, here's my film camera. Here's a digital camera. Here is a Instax, instant camera. Here's a 8mm video to shoot video. And you're like, what are you doing? What, like, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And I'm really tired of seeing the NHL posted the other week that there was an original 6 game, and that's 100 years. Those two teams have been playing for 100 years, and it's like, photographer shoots the game with a 100-year-old film camera, and then they shoot color. And not only do they shoot color, which looks terrible, the photos are absolute shit. Garbage. And the reason I bring this up is, yes, I went out with a 1940s camera to go photograph baseball, but those images are good. And I will tell you, they are good. If they were bad, I wouldn't be sharing anything that is like, well, it's out of focus, but it's okay because I shot it with an old camera. And that's, you know how much of a stickler I am when I come in and I'm like, well, shit, the eye isn't super sharp. And you're like, dude, you're shooting a lens from 1948 or 42.
It almost adds to it, giving a little more character with slightly out, but you are a big stickler on that stuff.
But the thing is, I started to realize slightly out is because I've scanned it at such a high resolution that when you print it 16 by 20 or 17 by 22, you're like, wow, this is really good.
I've said it time and time again, like you post that on Instagram or Facebook, they're never going to see it. They're not zooming in 400% in Lightroom and checking critical focus.
But I'm just tired of this world of basically what Cliff is saying, where, well, I shot this NFL game, I shot it on a roll of film, and we developed it and scanned it and got it out onto social before the end of the game. And I'm like, great. Why didn't you just shoot a digital photo? So let me take one step back. I love the fact that people are experimenting and trying stuff. I love the fact that your 20-somethings or teenagers are trying to shoot film that they never grew up around, and they're trying to do it. But just because you can do it doesn't automatically make what you're putting out into the world good. Period. So just because you shot that NFL game and you got some exposures and you had someone develop the negatives and then you scanned the negatives and then you posted on social, the pictures are bad. And a bad picture is a bad picture is a bad picture. And if you shot a great picture on film, I'd be like, that's incredible. But just because you shoot it in an alternative way doesn't automatically indemnify you from doing the things right: composition, composing, exposing, proper lighting, and actually telling a story. That's it in a nutshell for what Cliff is talking about as well.
Well, how he wraps it up in the end, learn to see, learn to shape light, learn to compose, learn to tell stories with your images, learn the why, because when trends fade and technology levels the field, the only thing left is the photograph and whether it holds up. I mean, that is the end all be all of photography this day and age.
And that reminds me of a very important line here from a great band called Nickelback. Look at this photograph. Every time I do it, makes me laugh. What the hell is on Joey's head?
That line.
I don't fucking know what's on Joey's head.
What the hell is on Joey's head?
Look at all the times we missed. I tried to kiss her, but I missed. That is right. But you know what it falls on, Stephen? It falls on us. This is why I try not to comment, but it falls on us. And this is what I've done for 16 years. Try to say the thing that isn't popular, which is what I've been saying. I always say it. The thing that's not popular is to say that these photos fucking suck. On the flip side, what am I doing to help them suck less? By educating and informing. Because I am so tired of people holding the camera out in front of them and not shooting with intent. So this person I follow on Instagram, Gavin Bethel, I'm not sure how he says his last name. He's Australian. He lives in like Delaware. He posts a ton of Instagram stories. He shoots an icon, and he posted a question the other day, which was, do you use the LCD or do you use the EVF? And so I sent him a personal message. We've been talking for a minute, and I was like, it's EVF all day. And I explained a bunch of reasons. And then he got back to me and he's like, I don't know when I changed from using the EVF to the LCD. And mind you, he could be using a 300-2.8 on the sidelines of shooting a sporting event with a Z9. And it's like, well, why would you ever not shoot through it? And I gave him the basics. I'm like, one, it's more stable. Two, you put your eye up to the EVF, you are moving less as you rotate left to right and track a subject. You're much more stable when tracking. It's much easier to keep the subject in the frame. And I gave him a few other things. And then he's like, I'm going to go out and try that. And he went and he's like, wow. He's like, you were absolutely right. And he posted about that publicly. And it was like, well, yeah, if you're holding a 300-2.8 out in front of your face and you're rotating, the amount of movement you are doing is far greater than if it's tucked in up to your eye. You don't move as far, which means you're able to track subjects much easier. And it's just using the EVF is the way to be. Eye up to the viewfinder. But everybody has been trained with cell phones to not do that, and I'm here to try and explain why. And that's why I need to start making more content that is the fundamentals and basics again, being like, do not hold the camera like this. It is wrong, and not be afraid to say it.
Well, and that's kind of, I feel like, what Cliff was getting at too, like the overall lack of education and how much that is a thing these days. I mean, even with YouTube, it's a scary thing. Like, people think they can start a whole career after watching a 10-minute video, or worse, a 60-second TikTok or reel. What I think most people lack is the true art of photography these days, true composition, the creative eye. I think most people have like the tech stuff down, or at least close enough to it.
Well, you should have the tech stuff down because it just does it for you at this point.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's not back in the day film era where you had dark rooms, light meters, burning and dodging, lack of great autofocus, slow frame rates. You have everything right in front of your eye, perfectly exposed, and you're just pressing a button half the time. But again, if you lack that true creative eye, I think you're not going to end up with great photographs. And that's what ends up happening this day and age. A lot of these young creatives going out and buying the latest, greatest camera, but not really knowing, again, the art of photography.
Thanks, Ted Forbes. The art of photography.
I meant to say, yeah. And I also think that's something that truly can't be taught. I think you either have it or you don't. It's really hard to, I mean, you can learn composition all day, but doing it on the fly, I think it's tough for a lot of people. You can have all the grids in the world through your EVF or screen, but again, if you don't have that creative eye, you just don't have it.
This is why I have my boot camps, but I can only help so many people, right?
Exactly.
But also, this is why I never make super advanced style content with what I do, because it always comes down, for what I do, I'm not talking about lighting and what Lindsay Adler does with all the 6 lights and setting up a whole studio.
High-end studio, yeah.
I stress the fundamentals and basics. And once you understand, you don't even really need to fully understand the exposure triangle anymore. And that's why my new video guide is going to be updated for modern days of shooting. Still going to go back and explain exposure triangle, because yes, you need to understand what aperture controls, what shutter speed does, what ISO does. I'm not
the
saying
basics for sure, yeah.
But I'm saying that today it's much easier that I can have you within 10 minutes going out on the street and getting properly exposed images, and then we can work on the composition. I've always said this since day one, even selling back in the DSLR era when I was at Allen's. Set the camera to auto and shoot for the first couple of months that way. And then at some point, you're going to be like, all right, I want to know how to do things differently. I want to make these even better. And that's when you start learning. So get out there and shoot. But today I can get you out there and shooting and getting great results right off the rip, because you can utilize, if you know how to utilize the technology properly, I can get you shooting. And then you're going to come back to me a week or two later and be like, well, how do I do this? But you're also less likely to quit photography because you can get good results right off the bat.
And on the topic of education, I think the other issue is the algorithm these days. If you do get stuck on, say, a certain educator or quote unquote educator, your feed then gets bombarded with just them half the time. And if, say, they're a studio portrait photographer, that's all you'll ever learn. You may never branch out to other genres of photography or learn other tricks of the trade or different styles from different photographers. You end up in a very, very narrow rabbit hole with a major lack of inspiration. So that's the other thing. If you're just going off online stuff, you might only get fed a certain person or a certain style.
It is just frustrating to see as Cliff says, the people that show the back of their camera when they're shooting, but never show results.
The end result.
Or when they show the end result, you're like, well, this sucks. Like, there was no intent. It's most of it, to me, it's the no intent. It's the lack of intention when shooting. And that's another thing I stress.
I just don't like when it's the opposite and they mislead the person to thinking that they just
It's
took
so
this
easy.
picture with a press of a button, but really you can tell that they did a shit ton of Photoshop and editing in post. There's no way, absolutely no way they got that in camera, and it probably took them hours to tweak something like that. Like that's
Misleading.
very, very misleading. Yeah.
It's all another thing that's misleading is when they're like giving the actual settings of what to set your camera to.
That too, yep.
Do you want to get this type of shot? Oh, just set it to 1/500th. Sorry, set it to
Jared.
1/500 with your 24/70 lens. And then make the ISO this and make your aperture 6.3 and you can get a great shot. It's like, what are you talking about?
Well, and what I was getting at too with the lack of education or going down the rabbit hole of only following a certain style of photography, whatever, I find a lot of people that do studio photography have a real hard time struggling with low light photography because they're afraid to push the ISO. And then the opposite for low light shooters, they tend to have a hard time shooting at low ISOs with studio or flash photography, stuff like that. It's very one or the other for the most part. But again, if you branch out and educate yourself and get better.
So the moral of the story here is Cliff he wrote a really amazing piece.
Yeah.
It doesn't, he put it into words incredibly well. I mean, it's stuff that I'm sure he's thought for the last 20 years, probably with the industry changing and evolving.
Yeah.
And he's been in the industry teaching people and trying to educate and inform and get jobs himself, which he's absolutely had to have seen a decline in rates that he would get for shooting weddings.
Definitely.
Because even though back in the day he competed only with the top of the top people, he now has to compete with these social media influencer people who really suck at shooting weddings, and he just knows that he does quality and other people don't. Don't be afraid to tell the potential customer that you're like, this is why you should go with me. You're not sitting there ripping on other people, but you're saying, look, here's the type of work that I do. It's a classic look, but I also do photojournalistic stuff. And if you do shoot film, be like, it's not just to shoot film, just to say to your friends that it was fucking cool that you shot a roll of film. It still needs to have intent. And that is, I come back to this every time I'm at the boot camps. Fundamentals and intent. Why would I shoot this? When do we take 20 frames a second? When there's intent. Because people think you just hold the shutter down for 20, 30 frames a second because you can. It's like, no. That 20, 30 comes in handy when I need that fraction of a second burst. And I take 8 pictures in that burst.
I mean, that's why I'm a big fan of the speed boost option that Sony offers, just because I can still be at 10, 20 frames per second, shooting little bursts here and there. But if I really need that extra, 120 frames per second with an A9 III, boom, one press of a button, shoot a quick little burst and done. I'm not shooting nonstop 120.
I do love the way that they have those cameras set up, and I hope Canon one day gets to that.
Even the A1 II or the new A7 V, you could be at 10 frames a second for most things, or even less. And again, you have that speed boost to jump up to 30.
All Canon needs to do is give us that option to put on a map to a button.
Yep.
And we'll be good. So that's basically it. That takes us to the end of this. I will send this to Cliff. Maybe Cliff will send me some audio with his thoughts, and we could maybe update it next week. If he does, we'll see. I'll send it to him. And I don't think he'll be scared to listen to it because he's absolutely right about everything that he said.
100%, yeah.
So welcome to 2026. Not going to say Happy New Year because that's dead. But yeah, we're here. We're going to continue to make our content. We're going to continue to inform and educate and push the envelope of just understanding the fundamentals and basics. That's where we live. That is the world Steven and I live in with making content. It's meant to help that. And I know we do a lot of gear stuff, and you see me saying it in gear videos, Steve, like, well, this doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter.
But I will say, we just did an R6 Mark III user guide 2 days ago, right? Which took all day to film.
6 hours
long.
of filming.
Almost 8 hours, I'd say. I mean, we filmed from
9:30. It was 9:22 to be exact when we started.
All the way up to what, 5:30? 5:15?
No, we were out of here before 5:30. It was like 5:24.
Okay. Like that changes things. But yeah, like throughout that video, not only are we showing you how to set up the camera properly, in our opinion, but you are teaching them throughout the entire video. You are showing them 3 points of stabilization, how to properly hold the camera, how to shoot through the EVF and not hold it out, stuff like that. There's a lot of quick teachable moments throughout that video. So it's, again, not just fully gear related.
I did my part.
You did.
I did my part. I ain't done shit.
Sometimes you do too much, and I'm like, dude, this is gonna be a 4-hour video. Like,
yeah,
do less.
So I'll let you in some inside baseball here. The goal with those videos, the user guides, is to directly basically people subscribe to us. They find those videos when they first get their camera. Then I want them to first find me so that I can give them the right information. I don't want them to find Tony Northrup's where he tells them they can hold it out in front of their face. I'm going to go to town on that. I disagree wholeheartedly with Tony, and he knows that. We talked about it, and he's given his reasons. We have an episode on that, and I just let it go because that's what he chooses to do. But I think it's absolutely the wrong way to teach people, period. End of story. In fact, it is the wrong way to teach people how to do that.
It is fact.
Fundamentals and basics, get them right. So our focus in this 2026 is to at least get in the can the fundamental content videos that we want to put out into a complete video guide. And basically, the goal is to inform, educate, and for us, in our business, to give people the best education possible. For like $150, you're going to get 30 plus years of my freaking knowledge and education so that you start shooting right off the bat and getting great results the right way. And you can continue to grow. With that being said, go screw yourself, Steven. Thank you guys very much for listening. Jared, PolinFronosphoto.com. See ya.
Bye.